I know we were talking a little bit about how your race seasons looked a little different now that State Park is no longer, sadly, and I know we'll probably talk about that a little later and kind of what that's like. But yeah, no, I appreciate you coming up here. I know we were chatting a little bit about this at the Tundra banquet, and I know you said you tuned into some of them, so that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, no, you do an awesome job with these. I enjoy watching them. I'm not on third shift anymore, so it's a little hard. I used to walk around, I'd just listen to that the entire night, and whenever one would come out, I'd pile through it. I don't remember much from many, but I know the Tommy one, because Tommy, I thought it was interesting that you get like the people on here that you did. That Greg McCarnes was cool.
Yeah,
Tommy. These are all people that you usually don't get to hear from, so it's really neat.
yeah, that's kind of what I one of the main things I want to do is like, man, I started thinking, I'm like, I got so many questions for these people that like I don't ever get the chance to spend a lot of time talking to, and it's like, well, I got this now, so let's have them on and start asking some questions. So no, I'm like I said, I'm glad you tuned in and but no, congrats on not being on third shift then.
Oh my God, that sucked. I hated it. It was okay at first. I like kind of working alone, and I didn't mind being up at night, but it helped me actually race wise, except for when I was trying to run State Park and then go right from there to work. That stunk, but it was easier to schedule things. Now it's a little bit more of a battle because it's a swing shift, but
okay,
it is so much better on your brain to be able to sleep normal again.
I was going to say third shift running State Park, some of those times it probably almost worked out because, by the time racing was in, you just go right in.
Well, and it's not a far drive, but sometimes it would run late too. So I had people rooting for me on the work side of things. Are like, yeah, just I can hang out an extra half an hour or whatever. You do your deal. Like, thanks, I appreciate it. And we're the only ones there. There's a second shift guy and a third shift guy. So
okay,
it was nice. They really worked with me good there.
That's good. I'll tell you what. I got a couple. Rapid fire questions at you.
Yeah.
So, man, one of the first things when I started seeing it at the racetrack, the Mohawk. Where did that first come in?
I don't want to look like anybody else. I might not be the fastest person every week. This is kind of my theory for things. One, I just like that punk. I am not going to be like anybody else. I'm going to rebel, that kind of look. I'm like, yeah, be different, be your own person. And I don't care if people think I look stupid or whatever, but everybody's pointing, hey, that person over there is different. Well, now you got attention automatically. And you don't necessarily have to be fast, have the prettiest car, put on a show. Oh yeah, that's the guy over there at the Mohawk. Easy to find,
Yeah. So what kind of hair product does it take to get that thing to stand up? And have you found the hair product that it's like some of the NASCAR drivers have when they pull their helmet off and their hair seems perfect as soon as it comes off?
I don't know how that works. I look like Bert from Bert and Ernie when I take my helmet off, my hat. Like I either need to run in. It depends if it's like you got fast time and you go out there. I'm like, okay, I can wet it down. I can go cockatoo out there for the interview. But when I pull my helmet off, it looks like a sprout. It looks like some sort of agricultural. It's a disaster. So I can show up looking really cool, but I don't know, maybe 3 hours in, I look really, really, really stupid.
So are you a punk rock music fan then?
Oh yeah, I like punk rock.
What's your favorite punk rock band?
Punk rock, well, I listen to all kinds of rock. Anything 2000s earlier. My favorite band is 3 Days Grace. Okay. That old stuff, I love that. Punk rock, people will argue what that is. I like to think of Papa Roach as punk rock. I like them a lot. I can't name off the top of my head. I listened to so much of that older stuff. More alternative, I would say, back then. But
yeah, I grew up listening to a lot of like Simple Plan, Good Charlotte, and got even like Hawthorne Heights and
that was punk rock too. People will tell you that, oh, this isn't the real punk rock. That's the punk rock. It's rock.
I say like Blink-182 and Sum 41. Yep. I mean that's a must
for sure.
So what year were you born?
I'm a 97 child.
Okay, so yeah, only
Christmas baby, 97.
Okay, yeah, it's only like 2-3 years later than me. So okay, that fits right.
I was always curious how old you were.
Yeah,
I figured you're probably pretty close to my age, but you raced for so much longer than I did.
Yeah. So that's that punk rock fits right in the time frame you were born. Then okay, cool. Yeah, punk rock. No, I figured you were probably into that with the having the Mohawk and everything. That makes sense. So then, did that just kind of end up having the Mohawk? Is that how you end up getting the nickname Brockstar? Or where did that come from?
The funny story with that is Matt Panier was the first person to ever use that. And like I was sitting in the car and he called it out, oh, the Brock Star. I'm like, whoa, that was cool. I like that. But I had a secretary or an admin at the hospital that said that first. I'm like, well, that's a good nickname. That's kind of cool. I'm used to being called broccoli or brocktard or stuff like that. And I'm like, or Heine, which I don't mind either. I used to hate it, but
don't give away all your secrets.
It's okay. Yeah. You can call me whatever you want. Just don't call me late for dinner.
Is your girlfriend gonna listen to this one?
Crew Chief Cody got a hold of me. What time are you on? What channel? I'm like, I think it's going to be out there later.
Yeah, I didn't call any of the news. I didn't call any of the news stations to see if we could get on, but
no, yeah, she'll be listening. She'll be listening.
Cool. Well, hopefully she heard the "Don't call me late for dinner" part.
I'll be late tonight.
Well, I'm glad that Crew Chief Cody is excited because I got something cool later in the show that he'll like. So,
oh boy.
Yeah. Have you seen any of the What Happened Here segments on any episodes?
I don't remember.
Okay, well, if you haven't, good, because then it'll be even more of a surprise. So.
Awesome.
Cool. But no, yeah. So you commented on me racing a little longer. When did I guess what did you grow up doing? When did you start racing?
I actually started in kitty cat snowmobiles when I was like 5 or 6 years old, kindergarten aged. I was always into it. My family, none of my family really raced or was into racing like this. They watched, they're all big fans. But ever since I saw NASCAR on the TV, it's just like all I watched. And then where the snowmobile racing came in was through Flip Merwin. Okay. My dad was on his pit crew, and then when he unfortunately got killed in an accident in Eagle River, 2003, he kind of kept that going. I don't know if I'd love to ask him this question too. Like he got the opportunity to run a sled, and then he kind of just got me and my brother in for a season. We ran a race, kitty cats. We liked it. My brother's half brother, he was never around, so he didn't go on and race more. He actually races sailboats, so that's cool. But
interesting.
From there, we ran another year of kitty cat racing, but he had the opportunity to run snowcross with the 40 and over division, and he won everything, which was epic. So we were on a snowcross tour for a while I was in kindergarten, and then as soon as Ma found out what my dad was doing, she kind of put the kibosh to that for at least a little while.
Oh, come on, Ma.
It was scary, and I watched him wipe out a few times, and it's awesome. I mean, I'd try it now, but I people that do that, it just beats your knees. So
yeah, I wouldn't want a snowmobile coming down on me either.
It's scary, definitely scary.
So is Flip Merwin, is that how you ended up with 52 then?
It's part of it. That was just kind of one of them things that was meant to be. I remember getting my first NASCAR game, 2006, with a PlayStation 2, and got to make your custom car. I'm like, oh, that's pretty neat. So I was making a car, and it was one of the only numbers that was available, and I'm like, well, I guess we're going to do this. And then it just kind of ended up being the thing. But now looking back, it's kind of one of those, I don't know if you want to call it like divine intervention. Like it just kind of fell into my lap. Yeah. So, and I ran with it. And I mean, to this day, like I'd say I'm racing in his honor with that number.
Okay, cool. No, well, as soon as you started talking about being involved with the 525, which we'll talk about that too. But I was like, oh, I wonder if that's where he got his number from. So
yep, big part of it.
So kitty cats, and then were you doing anything else? What else were you interested in when you were a kiddo?
God, we live out in the country, and I don't know, there wasn't a whole lot of kids to hang out with growing up, but I was always pushing cars around on the carpet, always major interested in that. It's like the only thing that I was ever really into. Of course, you go out and play in the mud, or we had a go-kart, a yard cart for a while, but it was all either racing video games or racing this or watching the race. I didn't even know that state park existed until around 2006, and then my dad finally brought me out there. There was like a special super late show. I'm like, there's NASCAR in our backyard, and we didn't know about this. I had been to Chicagoland Speedway before state park, so it's just something that I was into and stayed into the whole time. Everything that I did was racing all the way through, and my parents didn't have any connections to anything other than people who they knew through town because state park was local. But yep, it was just racing all the way through.
No, cool. So then when did you race go-karts, right?
Mm-hmm.
When did you get in that?
2008.
2008. Okay. And where were you running that at?
Ringel, the Ringel Brickyard Speedway.
Okay.
Yeah, we got to actually, Steve Pioli, his kid, Steven, raced go-karts, and he was just dominant out there. And we got to test run his once, and I thought that was just kind of it. And that following winter, I don't know, maybe it was the fall, they surprised me with a cart, and we put it together, and I think it was one of their older ones, and we ran with that for a few years. So that was a lot of fun.
Okay. Yeah, I got to run. I ran at Ringel. I'm trying to think I don't even know what year that would have been, but it was the first. I ran out there the first year that they ever opened. I got a chance to run out there, so that was a cool track, because when you ran out there, was it still kind of like the triangular shaped and everything?
Yeah, and it was high bank. That place is wild. Like, there is nothing like that. And I don't know if there'll ever be a go-kart track like that. Even racetrack in general. It was just neat.
Yeah, it was really neat. I remember, maybe being able to, I don't know if you'd call it like the second turn or whatever.
The tunnel turn is what Mitch Heinzen used to call it,
okay,
because there's a little culvert going under there, and that's what they called Pocono. Okay. It was kind of like Pocono.
Yeah, for a tunnel turn. Yeah, but gosh, I can remember, like, and it would drop off, like the back straightaway would drop way off and end up running off there and coming back on. It was it was a neat.
If you got in trouble, like every now and then, well, we were always wrecking there. We were all kids and we were ramming into stuff, but you end up backwards jumping off that berm. You get air there, and there were a couple times where you'd actually land backwards. You go through the weeds, and then you'd hit the fence that blocks off the highway there if you went in deep enough. So it was a little sketchy if you ended up.
I remember like where it would be like coming to the green and then just ended up going straight off that first deal, and I think it was right where the highway was.
Yeah, you just don't want to go too far into the weeds. The weeds slow you down, but don't hit the fence.
I think that was the only track I ever ended up seeing a cart actually like flip over on and end up being upside down. I think that was the only place.
I actually have never seen one flip there, but when we ran US Air, that was cool. We were doing like 80 miles an hour around the oval there, and
you got a chance to run there too. Okay.
Yep. And we watched a kid hit a what do you want to call them? Like the little rumble strips thing. They were raised, and he and another cart hit, and it popped him up, and he flipped it once, but he was all right. Nobody. You see it all the time on the internet now, these carts flipping over, and nobody really gets hurt, which is crazy because they're not light by any means.
Yeah, no, and I think that was what the same thing too. Like, I'll see, like, I don't know, Instagram or whatever, like these kart races down in North Carolina, and I'm like watching people flip over, and I'm like, man, I was around a lot of go-kart racing for quite a few years, and like I only watched it happen like one time that I can really remember, and I don't know if those things are getting faster or if those are just the high power classes or what.
One thing that I will never miss about kart racing is the only way you can pass is if you, especially on a tight track like Ringel, when you are wide open, you got to move people, and I hated that. And it gets rough, and there was always wrecks and cautions, and the parents are fighting, and the kids are fighting, and we all got along great when we were throwing the football around, but it was too rough. It was very rough. And the only way you got to learn a lot because that rear end control being on dirt. But if you're jumping into a car, bashing people out of the way, I don't really think is the way to do it. And that's really all you could do in a kart. So I think that's why you see so much of this now. Yeah,
no, and I can remember you'd be coming to the green, and it was, every single one of you were just bumper to bumper and just heads jerking,
and then
shaking.
You're doing this number. Slow down.
Yeah. When you were, what class were you when you were racing at USAR? Because I mean, that was a fast track. I got to run there too. I ran there on asphalt, and that was a blast. That was a lot of fun.
I was an Animal Pro when we ran that, so we were unrestricted.
I think I only ran a Junior 2 as my last thing I ever ran in a go-kart.
That's pretty quick too. As soon as you get an animal motor in the cart, where it's not just your flat top Briggs and Stratton, you're cooking.
Yeah,
you're cooking.
Yeah, when you say like close to 80 miles an hour, like I'm like, all right, yeah, that's fine on there.
I go back and watch the videos of that, and I'm like, wow, it makes you dizzy because they just grip so well. The tires are damn near foot wide.
Did you ever get a chance to watch the the road course guys run there?
The shifter
Or
carts.
shifter carts and stuff, yeah.
One time they were practicing there right before we were in the pit gate, and those guys screamed too.
I remember watching them. They would come through the oval portion. They'd get back on the road course, and they'd catch air. And I'm like, that's
there's like a little hill that they'd come up over, and then they would drop down into another corner.
Yep.
And then they'd come around a square, and then they'd go back down the. It was really neat. That particular portion, just that, or like the corkscrew at Laguna Seca, that kind of deal, how they went down through there. Really neat track. I'd advise anyone who's never been out there to watch something to go at least once, because it's cool. It's really cool.
Yeah. When did you, like, so you're doing the go-kart thing, and you had mentioned that, like, you kind of did like the test in the go-kart, and you kind of thought that was going to be it, but then you ended up running for a couple years. Did you think it was going to carry on after that, or what were you kind of?
I don't remember thinking much about anything back then. I just know that when we were in it, I knew what I was doing. When we ran rookie box stock for the first 4 races, we were lapping people right off the bat, and the parents didn't really like that, so they moved us up into box stock, and then things got real. Like, I'm like, oh, I'm going to win everything, And then you learn, oh, no, get used to losing every now and then, pal. And it got rough, and you got to learn how to be a good sport about things too. So
yeah. And then what did you care? What was the next thing that came after go-karts for you?
We we took a year off from racing.
Okay.
We were trying to work with Travis Volm potentially on running pure stock.
Okay.
And then actually after one of the state park banquets, which this is when after Wimmers had taken back over and we started going to these banquets, my dad sponsored the track and a couple guys as soon as I was interested in it. But we were at the banquet, and I don't remember. I think this is right when I got my temps. I ended up driving, I think it was Chris and Scott. I don't know if Ron and Joan were with. I think Jana was with, but I drove because banquets were all partying. I was young, and I drove to, I think it was, I don't remember if it was Chris or Scott's house at the time, but Chris set me up. It had to have been Chris's, yeah. Chris set me up on his iRacing rig downstairs. They were going to get me a 4-cylinder, and I was like, I'd never been on anything like that, and I was like within a tenth of his time down there, and he goes to my dad, don't put him in a 4-cylinder right off the bat. He understands the steering with your foot kind of deal. So my dad worked with Clint Sillers to get me in a car, and we had that really nice Monte Carlo, and that's kind of where that all started there at State Park in 2015, I think.
Okay, gotcha. And then how did that go? What was it like what did you think going from the go-kart to that then?
It's wild, because at that point we had been watching racing at State Park for a few years, and you think it's really cool that, well, these guys are all out there, and you never really, at that point, because I was kind of dumb, like I didn't think I'd just be getting into a race car. Everybody who was out there is kind of a hero. Oh, you could be a race car driver. Doesn't matter what class you're in. When super lates were running out there regularly, those guys were superheroes. Like, so being able to run anything there after watching for so long, admiring what everybody was doing, was surreal to me. It was a learning curve for sure. A lot more noise than the go-kart. But I got comfortable pretty quickly.
Did you think it felt slower at all being in a full-bodied car, or not really? The reason I asked that is I remember going from racing the kart on asphalt, feeling like you're flying, and especially if you're running that size of a kart at, on asphalt. Mm-hmm. And then when I went to a 4-cylinder, and I felt like, and then I was at Golden Sands, and I'm like, man, I feel like I'm going slower. Just I don't know if it was because I was in something so much bigger and enclosed, or not half an inch off the ground.
Yeah, I think Plover feels slow almost no matter what, because there's so much racing surface and you're always turning. But I didn't really feel that.
You got a little more of your hands full at State Park.
Well, a big wheel, big car, heavy car. We had the 790s at that time, the real skinny ones.
Okay.
So we did not have any grip. And you were fighting that thing. It was like driving a giant bathtub. And it was it was something you had to get used to, find where the limits were. But I didn't really, I guess you're right now that I think about it. You really feel like you're zooming in a cart, but it felt comfortable, like manageable. It wasn't too much where you couldn't think, but I, at that point, had been starting to get into the iRacing stuff too when it was newer. It felt comfortable to me.
Sure.
But I didn't know what I was doing yet, and it took a couple of years to learn, but it felt good.
I didn't do a lot of iRacing, but like I remember when they came out with the street stocks and like those things, like you said, like almost like a bathtub, just sliding it around and
For sure.
And then was State Park the only place you ran that at?
Yeah, and we didn't really expect to go anywhere other than pure stock, and State Park was right in our backyard. So it was cool that we were able to do that. And I mean, I still thank to this day, thank Clint to this day for getting me that opportunity right off the bat, because we kind of ran with it as soon as we learned that we knew what we were doing and we knew what it took to win.
So were you running that car for him then?
My dad and him worked together on getting it built.
Okay.
Clint built a beautiful car. It was to the rules. A lot of people didn't like it because it needed a interior floor, and we built it with steel, but we built it kind of like a late model style where it was we call it tinned off, but it was all steel just because it was rotted out. But he built that car, and we ran with him in his program. He had a development program for a while there.
Okay.
And we ran that for the first year. And then after that first year, he advised, I don't know if it was just the way that things ran with our family team and or what. I know there was a bit of an argument one night. Me and Brandon Knobloch kind of got into it out on the track. So, I mean, right out of the bat, like I said, younger and dumber. I wasn't too young then, but I thought the whole point was to push these people around in these cars, well, pure stocks at least.
Yeah.
And it got rough, and I think he got a little mad at us, and he advised that we maybe go our own direction because he didn't want anything getting wrecked, which is understandable. I don't know the whole story there, but we had to apologize to him, and I felt really bad. I know that night we were kind of sitting there in the pits with I had my gear bag and a cooler, so we had to walk through the pits without anything leaving the racetrack that night.
Gotcha. I mean, was it just a little bit of fender rubbing or?
Well, looking back, I was coming up on a slower car, and he was in that blind spot, no spotters. Like, he was outside of me, and I kind of pinched him off in the wall. Well, I didn't know it at that point because I was just going around the lapper. And he came the next corner and just punted me out of the way, and we had a flat. Well, I had red in I'm like, I don't know what that was for. We were racing for like 5th place. We're way behind the leaders. Threw a tire on. We had a flat. Threw a tire on. I came back out there. We both went to the back, and I was just beating on him. I was seeing red, and I ended up moving him. I don't know if I passed him or not, but I was probably a little bit more frustrated back then than I've ever been in a car, but you just shouldn't do that.
Yeah, I think like most people, you race long enough, some of that stuff ends up happening, and you find yourself in situations that you look back and like, could have avoided that. But
well, and I didn't know at the time. I went back and looked at the replay, and you could see him up. I got it on GoPro, and I'm just tossing this giant steering wheel around, and I wasn't. We watched it not too long ago, and I'm pointing out the window. Far too fresh or wet behind the ears in racing to be getting that mad, but it was something. It was a good learning experience for us, especially that moment there.
Sure. So I mean, so still even at that point, like in the back of your head at all, like, are you going, hey, I gotta go super late model racing at any point, or is it just kind of like, hey, I just love racing. I'm just glad I'm here, kind of a thing.
Just grateful to be on the track, to be honest.
Gotcha. So then you walk out of the track with just a bag and a cooler. Then what?
Well, we had to make that apology. I called Clint up, and we talked, and we got things figured out. He understood. We were a lot more level-headed the next week. We had one more race, and we finished things out. But I think that was when he had advised maybe we should get our own stuff. And he did help us find a car. We bought one from Jake Chopik, and that thing was awesome.
Yeah, he
That
was
a
really
great
fast.
car. And
Really fast.
we rebuilt the whole thing again. Same deal. There were holes in the floorboard, and we wanted to build a nice car also. And he kind of set it up for us, and we ran that the next year.
I had no clue you ended up with his car. Yeah, I remember both Jake and his brother Ben had really fast pure stocks.
Oh yeah, and that was a really good one. Kevin Berg also had that one for a while as well. You could see the layers of paint when there was I think it was red, green, red, because it changed hands a few times, and then Kevin, our body guy, went back over and redid the whole thing and made it all pretty black and white the way I like it.
So did you get it right from Ben, or did
we got it from Jake? Jake was the driver.
Jake? I mean, yeah, okay, so you got it right from Jake. Okay,
yep,
cool. And then, so how long did you end up staying in pure stocks on?
Just that year, because I wouldn't say I was anything special. We put a bigger motor in it. I didn't really know what I was doing then. We didn't know about setups or anything. We really depended and leaned on Clint to get that car cranking. And we also didn't know, we brought in a fair amount of sponsorship right off the bat, that you really don't need to throw tires at these things all the time. And we just kept throwing like almost super late model tires. Our super late model style, we do 2 tires and 4 tires and 2 tires and 4 tires. Well, we started selling our takeoffs. We didn't know what we were doing. I think everybody else thought we were stupid, and we were just loaded with money, which was not the case. We had a lot of good help. And if I knew then what I knew now, things probably would have been different in pure stock. But we struggled there just because we didn't understand what it took to make a race team successful.
Yeah. So then, because then you went up running limited late mile, and we're pretty successful in that, right?
Yes, and we actually had, now that I go back, we had an opportunity earlier when Natalie was getting out of limited lates to run limited. Tommy was the one pushing us to, hey, you should buy this car, because my dad sponsored Natalie for a little while then too, and we were talking with him, and he was advising me to go and get this limited late. I don't know if he was just trying to make a sale or what, but I did not know what I was doing, but he was trying to push that sale on us. And I had hung out with him at his place and the Deckers every now and then, but that car came and went. Mondyke actually ended up running that one. It was it was yellow. I think it was a yellow one. Yeah, it was. He ran that car there for a season until he moved up into supers as well. But in the meantime, I ran that other year of pure stock, and then Jerry on the second year of pure stock for me. This was 2016. Jerry and those boys built another limited late because he was moving up from 4 cylinders, and it was a Cardell Potter car. They put that one together. Tommy had them tear it all to pieces. They rebuilt it.
Jerry Tommy talked about that. Okay.
Another championship car, and then Jerry was selling that one, and then Brickner's gave me an awesome opportunity to buy that because Tommy, once again, was pushing me to buy that car, and I did.
Are you saying Tommy's even a little bit of a car salesman?
He was the one trying to get us to buy those cars right off the bat, and my parents were like, you don't need to do that. It's a whole different ball game. And that's where I really learned race cars, was Tommy and working with him that first season in limited late right off the bat. And I knew it was going to be a good car, so it was all up to me to figure it out. And we did good right off the bat with that limited late. That was we'll call it a Frankenstein car that Jerry and those guys had put together. Awesome car. I don't know who has it anymore. But that thing was fast. We got 2 championships with that car at State Park. Yeah,
I know it's always eye-opening when, you kind of meet that person and you start, like, really learning, like, hey, then, when you get to a level 2, it's like you really start learning, like, hey, this is what it takes to set these things up. This is, now you got something that's built to actually go racing, and, and you're learning all these different things. And then, you can have someone kind of take it under the wing and show you that, what was it like starting to really learn those, actually learn car setup stuff now. And it's like, like you said, coming from like, hey, I didn't really know much to like, hey, now I get to work with Tom Ress.
Yeah. And right off the bat, and I knew they were successful everywhere. Everything that Tommy touched has and is successful. So I'm like, this is probably a really good group of people if we are to move up. I'm still living at home, but I was just getting out of or into, let's see. I actually went to college, 17. I started college there. I went for automotive mechanics and then graphic design. I only went for automotive because I didn't know anything about cars and I was getting into racing and I had to learn something because none of us, other than my grandpa, and he built street rods, but I didn't know anything about cars. So I'm thinking, well, we're okay in pure stock, but I do want to move up at least into limited late.
Sure, okay.
Because it's doable. Tommy was breaking down how much this stuff costed, and it was a really good opportunity to work with him. I said, this might be something we want to do. Well, my parents weren't going to buy me that car. Like, they got the pure stock for me. My whole family just loves racing, but I went and did this deal on my own. They actually let me make payments on that, and that's the only reason why I was able to make that work. And it was well worth it right off the bat. And like you said, learning something like that from Tommy, it was everything. Tires, how to pick them, packing bearings, going through all your heims, your suspension, setup, shocks, what to do when it's doing this, that, how to hang a body and hang it nice, interiors, electrical I had to figure out on my own, but that's something that I actually picked up in school a lot. I could wire anything. I'd wire anyone's car just because I think it's fun, but that sort of stuff, everything ins and outs race cars, right off the bat I learned from Tommy. So that was a really good deal.
That's cool. No, I mean a lot of, people, whether they, don't, they have the money, so they don't need to get involved with somebody that can teach them something. But, to get to a spot where you can, learn all that stuff, not just, some setup stuff, but hey, this is how you hang a body. This is actually how you, how a lot of people go racing, when you don't, when you can't just pay for everything. Yeah.
And
and it makes you better too.
It does. You understand a lot more about what's going on. And a lot of that is valuable today now that we are on our own. We do have a lot of help, resources that we can go to when things don't make sense. But you got to know it in and out all the way through and things to look for so your equipment doesn't fail. We haven't had a whole lot of equipment failures yet just because of proper maintenance on the car and knowing how to do that. Especially when you get into late models and you have to take everything apart, go through it, put it back together to ensure that you don't have breakdowns when you don't want to have breakdowns.
Yeah, and it's, and if something cheap fails, it's usually not just that one thing that ends up getting torn apart.
It escalates. You break something else is going to take or you break one thing, something else is going to take the hit later on because of that. So it's all things that you have to learn and look at and really, or you want to say cherish, you value that information, right? Because it's applicable now.
So in having, you're imagine to win those championships, you're winning races too, at that point, are you starting to get the itch of like, we should go super late model racing if it's possible?
It was never in our wheelhouse.
No,
late models, super late models, they're both extremely expensive, but our family, the way that it was, and we had really good sponsor support. We still have really, really good sponsor support. We couldn't fund super late racing no matter what. So with that happening, we had Todd Nagel, who is Ty Majeski's main guy now.
Yeah.
He picked us up and said, I wanted to start a race team. And I want you running the car. So we had to talk with people, figure out what it took. And he really jump-started that super late program. Okay. I worked with Wes Kuhn, and the car that we originally bought was a Victory Circle. Luke Fenhouse had been running it as a backup car because his car got wrecked, I think, 1 week before the championship race. at State Park. So they threw this car that was in the garage together for that race, and they ended up winning the championship there. And then I think that was a really close points battle that year as well. That'd be 2018.
Okay.
So it was that car that they had. We wanted that one. We knew it was good. And then Tommy was still a resource for us since we still didn't really know the ins and outs of setups. But as far as all the secret stuff, that was all hush-hush. We didn't know, and we had to kind of figure it out the rest of the way. And Chris Wimmer was another good resource that we had. But Todd picked us up. We assembled that team. We used a lot of our equipment, my dad's trailer and truck, my grandpa's, we call it the shop now. It was a shed at first. They used it for drying ginseng. But we used that, and we kind of just assembled that super late model team, but it was not our equipment anymore. We had to get a pit box. They still use that same pit box that we had. You see it all the time on track TV when they're doing interviews and they got the team there making calls and whatnot. So that's a pit box, the same one that that we started with. But to sum that whole portion up, Todd really is what started that whole super late model program for us.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's cool. I mean, it's, similar. For me, it was Kevin Lang out of Minnesota. For me, it was kind of a similar thing. You get to a point and it's like, all right, where do we, are we going to be able to go anywhere from here? And, fortunately, in your case, Todd came along and, jump-started that opportunity for you and kind of kicked it off and propelled it from there. So how did the first year with the super late model go?
That was a big learning curve.
And now, was it 2018 or 2019?
2019 was our first year in the super late. We had a good balanced car setup.
It sure seems like you've been in super late model racing longer than that. Just thinking about it. Yeah.
Crazy now how long it actually has been. I mean, it's 2025. I think this is my 10th year car racing in general.
Okay.
But let's see, that's 6 years in super late. But now that you bring that up, it does feel like we've just been doing it for so much longer than what we have. That first year was a struggle because now you're out there with the best of the best. It was really cool for first time being part of driver introductions and stuff like that, and just kind of learning what to do with the car. We applied a lot of what we had learned in limited late to that victory circle, even though it's not all the same. We were able to get some decent setup notes and what to run with here and there, and every now and then you'd hit it. But we weren't consistent in that car at all. And it got to a point where no matter what we threw at it, it wouldn't change. Actually, funny story with that car is we didn't know anything about bump stops. So the first night we went out there with our typical limited late setup, and we just destroyed the cross member right off the bat. And we're probably going to need stops because this is awful. We're going to wreck something if we keep doing this. So thankfully, Chris guided us with that to make sure that we.
And then was your first race and first season at State Park then?
State Park, yep. Okay. We ran one race at Marshfield, so that'd be my second race ever there. I actually did run with the CWRA Super Lates with the limited late model, and we were really good at State Park when we did that. Okay. So we ran a race at Sands too, but that first year with our Super Late was that was a learning curve. And that really was kind of the only track that we hung around. We were just kind of gathering information so we could build this Gearheads team that Todd assembled. Okay.
Gotcha. And any real big events or races that really stick out in your mind, or it was like, man, hey, this one thing happened that really blew you away, or was a learning curve when it came to super late models versus what you had been in?
Yeah. When we ran the Tundra race at Marshfield, that was the one race that we ran. We were not good right off the bat, but we started in the back, and we were passing cars that whole entire time. The car was a little free, which I think if you're starting from the back is a little better because your stuff is going to stay together longer. If you're tight and you're pushing it, you're burning it up. But since we were back in traffic, it helped us pace ourselves. We followed Neil Knobloch all the way through the field in that race. They had a lot of cars back then. I think there was 27 in that race. I'm not sure, but we got to 11th. He got to 10th, and that was a fun one to learn because now we were passing cars. It's a faster track. You learn a little bit more etiquette out there with super lates, which it's different. Limited late, pure stock, super lates, everything's different. You got to be more patient.
Yep.
But 75 laps, we made it. I was in a lot better shape back then. But we carved our way through the field, and that was a real big learning curve. It wasn't an eventful year by any means, but we learned a lot right there. And then we went to our first actually, it wasn't our first Oktoberfest either. We went and ran the Hooligan there, and that's the first time I ever won anything.
Okay.
We were trying to get in that futures race again, just trying to figure it out. We weren't all that good. Ran the Hooligan. We actually hired Dalton Zier to consult us that particular race there. And, I mean, we had some wild right rear springs in there, but we couldn't get the thing turning. So my dad ran over and talked to Chris. He's like, is there something we're missing with this car? And he says, well, what's it doing? Well, it's tight. He cannot turn at all. He made one adjustment in the front to one of the shocks. They were triple adjustables too, which we have no clue what we're doing with them.
Yeah, a lot to learn.
He's like, oh yeah. It's like 2 sweeps of something on the left front, and it just went like fast again. But at this point, you run the Hooligan. Now you got 20 laps on your tires, or however many laps that race was. I think it was maybe 15 or 20. I don't know. And we won that. We passed everyone, and then we took off. And Corey Jankowski is trying to track us down, but he couldn't get to us. And from there on out, it was like, okay, now you got the taste of victory, and you're in super lates. Futures race we won't talk about, because I'm pretty sure without of how many cars there were, I think we almost got lapped in 25 laps, but we had a lot of laps on the tires.
And the thing about Oktoberfest is, like, when they've had like the Hooligans race, like, there's some pretty decent cars, good people that find themselves in the hooligan race.
That futures deal, there was like 37 or 40 cars trying to get into that particular race, and they didn't have the nights back then either. So that was. We had other people who were, just to keep their spot in the pits, they would say, hey, you want to run the futures in my car? So a bunch of people got to learn things there. Well, we were in a whole different kind of learning area. We didn't know where to park. We were sinking in the mud. We were lost, and we were just getting on the track. And going to Greg McCarn's announced that he's got a different procedure for parking this year, so we'll see how it goes. But yeah, no, for the way it had been prior, it's going to Oktoberfest and the parking situation's a learning experience on its own. There was a lot of gimmicks to make sure that you had your spot and you could keep your spot on the concrete.
Yeah.
It wasn't buying the slab that was the problem. It was just making sure we were there rightfully. So, like, well, we're not going to run the trickle. We have no chance of making that. We're going to get out of there.
Yeah, I can just remember like, oh, hey, that street stock guy blew up. Like, he's not going to be running anymore. And you go and talk to him like, yeah, I'll be backing out tonight. I'm done for the weekend. Like, all right, you mind like hanging out long enough in there so I can take your spot? Like, all right, well, try and get down here as quick as you can, because I don't want to wait in here all night. It's like, all right, thanks, man.
And everybody, I mean, it's just like the Formula One grid, waiting for because people race in there as soon as they get the parking lot somewhat cleared out, or the pits somewhat cleared out. It was like a battle of the piranhas to get in there.
I think I've had more yelling and arguing go on just over parking than I ever had racing there.
We already have, in our later years here, got completely parked in with our bigger rig in the upper pit, because that's things too tall to bring into the pits there.
Oh yeah.
So it was just like you said, a lot of yelling going on. We're parked in, we can't get the trailer out. And someone was in like a U-Haul deal, like they had a U-Haul trailer with their race car on the back and a van pulling it, and nobody knew who this was, so they didn't know who to call or contact to figure out who was parked behind us. So you're right, like there's a lot of yelling and fussing, and this is all at like 12:30.
Yes, yeah,
in the middle of the night, and I'm really hopeful that it's not like that anymore. And I don't think it will be. I think this might be I got to give Greg a call to make sure that we can get our spot, but. I think it's going to be a lot more cleared up now that we're not dealing with this anymore, because somebody's always trying to get ahead.
Yeah.
They say you're supposed to wait in this lot up by Pischke's until everybody's out. Well, that ain't going to happen. Somebody's always sneaking in, or, oh, we just got here and the parking lot's full, and then everybody else pulls up, and then that whole middle road there's blocked, and it's just a disaster. So I'm not surprised people get in fights over parking at Oktoberfest.
Yeah, good times. So you win the hooligan race there, and then was that the end of year one at that point?
That was the end of year one right there. We had taken our car in because this is when we were like, it doesn't really matter what we adjust on this, nothing's working. So we took that car to Reed so he could look at it. Victory Circles in California, we were never going to make that trip, but Reed had a jig for it. And he said, this car is so bent, and we didn't know why, because Luke did really good in it. We never wrecked anything with it. He says, it's so bent, we can't even get this thing on the table right. So at that point, we're like, well, what do we do? Well, Todd was relying on us to get answers from somebody. I was relying on Wes to figure out what to do or what we can do. I was making phone calls with Victory Circle to see if we could have something built the way that Chris had it built when he was running Victory Circles. And we were at a crossroads right there. We didn't really know what to do, but Todd wanted to keep racing. We wanted to keep racing. We had tons of equipment now and invested in it. So that was kind of a point. End of that year, we're like, well, this might be it. So we were on a mission looking for crew chiefs and cars and things that we could do. And fortunately, we were able to come up with something for 2020.
Okay, so then what did you end up coming up with?
That year, with Kraus getting into NASCAR, Darren Soybert became available, and they had a chassis at Kraus's place ready to go. Wes caught wind of this, said, hey, I think I got a deal for you. Comes with a crew chief, which is what Todd wanted because we were kind of lost. We were learning as much as we could, but Todd wanted a crew chief, and he said, this is probably the way to go. This is a Toby car. They weren't huge at the time, so everything was secret and tight-knit. I think at the time, Justin had one. Ty was running them. Stenny had one, and us with that.
Okay.
At the time, there may have been more, like running lacrosse, and maybe some other treks, but those were the four that like I knew for sure until the Toby car equipment really blew up. It was a conversion car, but that deal becoming available was like, yep, we have to jump on this. We're going to do it. Todd did whatever it took to put that car together. We were able to salvage a lot of parts off of the Victory Circle. But that car, I don't know if it's still there, but that Victory Circle is sitting in Todd's yard for the longest time. Like, this was the start of my racing adventure. So it was yard art.
Good little race car graveyard,
yep,
yeah.
Yep. So we bought that. We bought that in 2020. We bought the Toby car. That Kraus they were going to build it, but with him going to NASCAR full time, it was just available. So then Darren took over, and he was kind of teaching us the ins and outs of everything.
Okay.
And we all collectively, me, Wes, and Darren built the car that we run today. And that's kind of where that program really got kicked off there.
Okay. And then, so you start getting in racing with that car. Then how did this thing start going with that car then? Something newer, straight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we knew it was perfectly ready to go. It wasn't even powder coated when we bought the chassis.
Okay.
We were able to build the things on there that we wanted. And that was a learning curve another learning curve, I should say, because I was used to running cars that you had to be really smooth with, and these Toby cars, Darren described it to me as you really got to beat them. Like, you got to make it work the way that it needs to.
Okay.
So I completely had to change how my driving style was, but we were fast. And that car was always keeping up. Crate cars were really fast at low grip tracks at that time because they had a huge weight break.
Yeah.
And we had the 5.3 that we ran limited late in the Victory Circle and now. So we were kind of at the bottom end of the power deal, but we still had to weigh what a lot of the other, like the Aces had to weigh. But we were fast right off the bat with that car. So things started to look a lot better for me. But then we started traveling with the Tundra series as well and learning those tracks and running with more cars. And the Tundra was really big at the time then as well. And we missed shows. We didn't miss a Tundra show. We got in on one provisional at the Dells. We still struggle there to this day, but we just learning that and trying to figure everything out. And I know Darren was used to Kraus being pretty good everywhere they went, and I was wet behind the ears with that program and learning how to drive that car. And we struggled for a while, but we were really good at State Park right off the bat. We just didn't have that weight advantage that the crates had until they took it away the following year.
Yeah. So then did it take until that following year then to get your first win, or when did that finally?
We did finally get our first win in a super late in 2020, mid-season.
Okay.
I think that was when Justin and I were going back and forth in the Deachins Memorial Race there.
Okay.
When I led so many of those laps. Car was really, really, really good. But he was able to, with cautions, track us down. And then he set me up perfectly after a restart. I was tight on the bottom, and I floated up too high, and he did a perfect crossover and just got underneath me. And I ran him hard as I could. I didn't want to lose that lead. I knew if I could take off, I'd be okay. But he was able to pass us there, and he went on to win that race.
And that was in the Deachins?
Yep. And those guys are frustrated because we kind of had it, but I blew it because I moved up off the bottom. And I told them, I'm like, I'm going to win next week. Hands down. Nothing is going to stop me from winning this next race. Let's put something similar in it, and I'll go out there. And following week, fast time, I think I won the heat race, and then I won the feature, and it was a dominant car. So that was the kind of the confidence builder that we needed to have momentum throughout the remainder of 2020 and into 2021.
So you lost that Larry Deachins Memorial, but then was it probably 2023 when you ended up winning it?
Yes, we did win it again in 2023. Car was good. We had a lot of that was like baseline stuff from what we had learned throughout those years there, but that was really special because at that point we had, we were no longer racing with gearheads.
Okay.
It was up to us to manage our own stuff again. So, that was the third year that we were that was the second year that we were by ourselves, as an independent team again. And it was just huge because at that point our team was built with, we had a lot of the same guys, but it was everybody like Cole Fergie, Wade LaFave, all these guys that had been racing at State Park for a while. Brandon Normand, Brian Normand, big pick crew member for years.
Sure.
With Bach and all those, like that whole group of people. But our whole team was just it was whoever I could find that somewhat knew what they were doing. And that race was special to us, the 2023, because that at the time was the biggest race we could win for what we were running. And that was like a Daytona 500 to us.
Yeah, huge race to win. Not only was it, the Larry Deachins Memorial, but then it was an ASA Tour race. Mm-hmm. So, that's a huge.
And we were going against the best of the best at the time. Yeah. In 23, we weren't, we did have something a little bit figured out there. I think that is when they paved bits and pieces. I think that was the year that they did that. It had to have been.
I don't recall because I'd only find myself up there like one time a year or something.
Yes, it actually was because we started winning a lot that year once we figured out that we could run the top again there. You was so line dependent there at first, but as soon as I discovered that, hey, there is a ton of grip up here, I will credit myself with, hey, I figured this out first. And we were able to collect a couple wins right off the bat just because we figured out that high side. But we were able to get the Deachins as well there, and we went on to win the championship that season as well.
So then when you were talking about, back being on your own again, was that, you guys just kind of ended up, going a different direction than what was going on with gearheads? And then were you now was that back, had you learned enough learned a lot at that point? And did it feel like, a big learning curve kind of being on your own again, so to speak?
Yes. I was always wanting to pick up on, what they were trying to do with the car. I wanted to understand it because I had my own understanding through racing limited lates and the super late when just things that I knew did work. And there was a lot of button heads with what I thought the car needed and what Darren thought the car needed. And ultimately, I mean, there were times when I was told, just drive the car. Don't worry about it. I'm like, I don't function like this.
Yeah, it's tough to do that, yeah.
If I don't know what goes into the car, I'm not going to know what that change is going to feel like when I feel like, hey, exactly. I think I need what we did this last time. And we did a lot more changes with that car than what we had done with the Victory Circle. So to go back to your question, I really don't know what ultimately it led to them no longer or Todd wanting to go a different direction with that program. Sure. And it really sucked for us because I got no hard feelings any which way. I still work with those guys and I will continue to work with those guys. It's an awesome group.
Yeah.
I learn a lot from them and Todd still does a lot for me, but they wanted to go a different direction. We had actually sold all of our equipment, our pit box, our trailer. I sold my other car, Sally, the limited late that was really good.
Okay.
Just to put money towards this program. Todd felt that he wanted us to have skin in the game as far as funding this program because we're wrecking things. We're out there racing. He was kind of by himself. Even though we did bring in a fair amount of sponsorship money, we were kind of splitting everything right down the middle with how that program went. But come end of 2021, I don't really know the whole deal as to why he wanted to go a different direction. I think it's because of the situation that Ty was in at the time. He worked with Manstead a lot. And all those guys. And I think, he was getting into NASCAR as well.
Yeah.
So they had a lot of cars there and they were kind of getting out of that program and Toby was looking for a place to go. And I think it may have just been business. Hey, we've got an opportunity to have Ty be our driver. Well, I would put Ty
not a bad move.
Yeah. I mean, Ty is way more marketable than Brock Heinrich probably will ever be. And he's arguably the best race car driver on short tracks in America, in the world even.
Yeah.
So I don't blame him one bit for if that's why. We never really got a straight answer as to what that was.
Sure. But I think I got more of I think I may have multiple questions in that one question, but, so then when you kind of being on your own, was there did it feel like a learning curve again at that point? Because you've had a lot of learning curves, all in a short couple.
Our program has been one big. We always had great support, but it was just a mess, kind of the whole way through. Who was responsible for what? What are we going to do next? We got to find more money. We got to find more money this way to make this work. And what do we do with tires? We had to learn tires and what to do with setups. And fortunately, Darren he hooked me up with a lot of the notes that we had before. So I was able to look back, okay, this is what the car needs. But now I am making the changes. I get to decide what the car needs, what we can do with it. And kind of, we just kind of took over. But they didn't just leave us high and dry. I wouldn't say that at all. And they continued to help all the way through. But it was basically just me learning the setups, and there was a lot to pick up on right off the bat. And now that I was doing it myself, I was able to feel things a lot more, make more changes, make my own decisions. And that really ultimately, I think, is helping us right now with our success because I know what feels like what,
Yeah, that's huge. My brain functions the same way. I got to know what that adjustment, feels exactly like. So I completely get that. So up until this point, so far in your racing, what do you feel has been your biggest win? Is it the Larry Deachens Memorial?
Yeah, hands down. Okay. The Larry Deachens Memorial is the biggest win.
Okay. Yeah. That, to me, that race has always been one of the crown jewels of the Midwest. I mean, there's a lot of cool names on that list for sure.
Oh, absolutely. We even got the plaque with all the previous winners. When we learned that state park was closing down, they had kind of gotten rid of a couple things, and we got the plaque with all the Deachin's Memorial winners on there.
Okay.
They weren't going to, well, Justin won the last one, but they weren't going to deal with that traveling trophy anymore. So they gave it to us because we were the last ones on that plaque before they shut down. If someone's willing to make me a little tag for it, I mean, I'd love to put Justin properly back on there, because we don't want to hide the fact that, well, he actually won the last Larry Deachin's Memorial at State Park Speedway. So, and it continues on. They had it at the Dells with CWRA this year, and that was a good deal. But that race was very special to us, and I'd definitely say it was a crown jewel. I'd love to see ASA run in the Deachin's Memorial again at some point. I think that really fit how important that race was.
Yeah, no, I agree. No, it was cool to, I kind of thought it was just going to be done, but, it was cool to see it continue on for another year.
I'm glad that they are continuing on with it in one way, shape, or form. I think that's huge.
Yeah, no, 100% agree. So I had mentioned earlier if you had seen any of the episodes where I did the what happened here. So I'm going to do that. For any of the people that are just listening and not like watching on YouTube or anything, I'll try and best describe these. So I'm going to show a picture over here on the screen, and you can elaborate as much as you want as to what happened here.
This could be anything. So this is kind of scary for me. I'm always on some sort of adventure.
Nothing is too crazy.
Well, I mean, I'm also full disclosure. It can be as crazy as you want it to be, but I'm excited to see what this is.
So what I wanted to ask you is, there we go. I'll get quicker at this at some point here. When you attended the ACM Awards, what did it feel like to be able to attend the ACM Award? Man. Oh, wait, there's the legitimate photo. But has anyone thought that you are Hardy's doppelganger yet?
At that night, that was, ever since then.
Was this just like a Halloween party?
Yes, this was a Halloween costume. That ever since then, one of my new nicknames was Hardly.
Hardly.
Because, I mean, one, I love Hardy. He's kind of like, everything he does is kind of what I stand for, that rebellious, do your own thing, do it your own way. He's screaming and he's doing his country music.
Yeah.
But we tried this out. I'm like, I can't believe I was able to make it work that good. But I remember walking, we went to the garage in Wasatch first. For those who don't know, it's a big bar in Rib Mountain now.
Okay.
They had a huge Halloween party. We went to a couple Halloween parties that night, but we went there and we were just walking through the parking lot. It was empty. They're like, Hardy's here. I'm like, yeah, this thing turned out pretty nice. Like, this is a good looking costume. So we walk in there and immediately, like, they're like, you have got to sign up because people are like turning their, like, doing double check things. And I'm like, I don't think I look that good, but this particular picture.
What did you do with the tattoo? How'd you do the tattoos? Because when I went and dug through and got this, I'm like, I mean, I could see Brock with tattoos, but I don't think he has tattoos in his arm.
No, what I did is I went and looked at, like, I was trying to be as thorough as I could. I bought everything head to toe what he had on at the Morgan Wallen concert that year. And I was looking at his tattoos. We bought tattoo paper that you could use like with an inkjet, just your regular standard printer.
No kidding.
And I took all of his tattoos and I'm like, I want to do the same thing except make it like my stuff. So he's got like this big catfish tattoo on his arm.
Oh, interesting.
So I put a walleye on there instead. And I basically just found all this random clip art and threw it on the one sheet or one document, printed it off, and it
so you just run it through a normal like printer?
Yeah, you can get, like, at a craft store, you can get tattoo paper that you can throw through a regular old inkjet printer. Which Cody's been begging me. He's like, I gotta get new tattoos, and I'm like, well, yeah, you can't wear sleeves all the time, but you put them over your sweatshirt. It doesn't look like tattoos. You're supposed to be like skin tight, you know?
Yeah.
he thinks he's a gangster, and he is a gangster for anyone who knows Crew Chief Cody as well as I do. But yeah, no, that really worked out good. We did end up winning, or I won by myself the Charlie's Halloween costume contest they held, and they had a truck bed playing in the background. I had to jump around like Hardy was, and they thought it just turned out really good.
That's excellent.
To Jerry Brickner's wedding, we talked. I kept in the back. I'm like, I think this would be funny at some point. But I kind of snuck up to Jerry. I'm like, dude, Hardley's here. He's like, no. Like, yeah, he's here tonight. So he had me throw on all my stuff that I happened to have with me. And I went and did a sold out to his wedding crowd dressed up as Hardy. And I don't like admitting this, but I'll go and sing a lot. Like, I love karaoke, and they had me do sold out at Charlie's this another time. Ever since then, a video that somebody took went viral of me doing that at the time, and everybody was telling me, "Oh yeah, you go do sold out. You're already dressed up. Do sold out." Couple times I've done that now, but only one time completely dressed up. And Big Jerry was rolling his eyes at the wedding. But yeah, no, that alter ego did kind of stick. I've still got all my stuff, and I know you brought it up to me at the Tundra banquet too.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't remember exactly how you said it. I thought you're Hardy. I'm like, well, are you saying I'm fat right now?
I think I did say you were thinner. You're definitely thinner.
Yeah. No, but I did have long hair in the winter, and I always wear my nothing fancy hat. So,
yeah, no, that is a fantastic. Like, what did you yourself realize? Like, hey, I think I could kind of make a look like him.
I tried to make like that squinty-eyed face that he did, just to
it's perfect. Play
the part. But that particular picture, it turned out really good. So yeah, I know that alter ego, that stuck. That comes out on special occasions.
That's awesome. What happened here?
It was hot that day. I don't remember exactly which race this was, but that isn't the first and only time that I've been like that, but it was hot. I also may have actually been sick that day. I just remember it was scorching hot in there. We put the doors in our trailer. Now we got the privacy doors in the back, because we weren't able to run our air conditioning. We're like, we need this today. So fortunately, we've got the royal benefit of having air conditioning a lot of times at the racetrack, but it was ungodly hot that particular day. I don't know if the picture's out there of me where I've already fallen asleep under rain delays laying down like that, and I always have my hands up for some reason. I sleep with my arms straight up. Like,
when my kids were babies, they always slept like that.
When we're growing. I was a growing boy at the time. I was growing out. I've gained weight since the beginning of our whole super late program, but it was hot that day. That's all I can remember from this particular picture. And Norm's got a towel on too. He's sweating. He looks like he's almost in tears. But that particular day, it was bad. That's really all I know about this one.
So I'm glad you said that that crew chief Cody was looking forward to this, because some of the other things that I brought up is I'm like, I have to know where some of these come from, because these are fantastic.
They're original.
I looked forward to these every time you guys posted these.
We're saving up our stock again so we can go, and we'll probably repost some of the same ones. I don't know where he comes up with this stuff. This is all original. Everybody always says someone's learning something from someone, but ain't nobody on planet Earth that says they want their girlfriend with extra cheese. And there's actually, I should probably have.
We like our cheese in Wisconsin.
Well, that might be what it is. I don't know what that entails, but only he knows, I guess. So yeah, we will be bringing that back on our Facebook page. And I got to hit on quick. I am horrible at being consistent on Facebook. We have a couple people that have access to that, and life is just so busy now to stay on top of this, work on the car, go here, do this, do that, post the Cody quotes. And we actually ran through all of our PG Cody quotes really quick. Some of them were gray area. Maybe we have one of those subscribe to this for a certain price to get our X-rated Cody comments, because we got through about half of them. We've got a whole album of Cody quotes. And the dirtier ones are the funnier ones, but we don't really like putting that out there. I don't know. Maybe Mama J or Mama Mel and Daddy J will. This one's funny. I do have a story for this one.
Yeah, let's hear it.
But we'll maybe see if we can't get some of the more X-rated ones out here. This one's the borderline, and the borderline part about it is there's gray area here. And I will have full disclosure on this particular moment. They do get worse than this, but we think Cody has had a crush on Kayla, and so he always disappears on us when we're at the racetrack. He's also a big shit talker at the racetrack, but we think he's got a crush on Kayla, and for this particular one, Cody was slacking off. He shows up. I think it was just after qualifying, and we're like, "Where were you, Cody?" And we caught him. He was slacking off. Mitch goes, "Name 3 things you did today, Cody." He goes, "Tires. I changed them. And I got yelled at by Mondyke." Well, that immediately raised the other question. Well, what's Justin yelling at you for? And I went and asked him. He goes, "Well, yeah, he's always looking at my girl. And just because you got sunglasses on doesn't necessarily hide what you're looking at." So, it was justified. I'm glad Justin yelled at him for that one. But, oh, man, it was just so...
But I was scrolling through all of these, and I was like, "Oh my, he got yelled at by Justin. We got to figure out what happened here. Maybe he was looking."
It's not the first time, and it's probably not the last time either. But
Cody,
he's over there by those guys sometimes more than he's over by us. We don't know where Cody always disappears to. He's actually on probation right now, so we've got a watchful eye on Cody, making sure he doesn't take off on us.
Okay, good. Yeah, no, I had to. Cody's out there watching, listening. I'm glad we got these up here for you.
He's watching. This will be a big moment for him. Crew Chief Cody.
Yeah. No, those are awesome. I get a kick out of them.
We've got more coming. We got to let that album build back up. It never fails. He always says something that just catches us so off guard, and well, where'd that one come from? We just had another one the other night. And a lot of times it has to do with cheese for some reason. So we know he's a big cheese fan. But
yeah, women and cheese.
That's Cody's gig.
No, maybe they got cheese curds over at the head Mondykes all the time.
I'm thinking we have some sort of strip club special for Cody at some point. Just call it Women and Cheese, and you can interpret that. You can interpret that however you want. That's what's going to be there.
Stay tuned for the Facebook invite.
Oh man!
Oh man! Flamingo at Oktoberfest. You never know what could happen, right?
Crew Chief Cody at the Flamingo. We had him there. I don't know if we had him in the pile. I mean, I don't remember, because usually when I'm at the Flamingo, I'm in rough shape. But
I'm almost ashamed to admit this. I've only been to the Flamingo one time, and it was like for a very short amount of time a couple of years ago, and that was it. And actually wasn't a whole lot going on. I was pretty bummed, but I think I probably caught it on an off night.
I've been there twice. Back when I was still helping. Some of I actually went with Tommy when Claire, I think it was either Claire or Paige. I don't remember which of the sisters was racing, but I went and helped them for a while, and that was one of the years where weather wasn't always ideal. Well, when the races are canceled, everybody starts drinking, so we all wander about, and we're doing Oktoberfest things. So that was one of the times I was there, but at that point, Pink Flamingo got shut down. It was too rowdy already. Another year, we were with Jerry, and it rained every day at Fest. And that particular year, same deal. The Flamingo got way too out of control, and they shut it down, so we're wandering around looking for other things to do. And I thought for a while there the Flamingo would actually get shut down. And I think it did, but they brought it back not too long after that, and it's been a lot more controlled. But we've also been getting a lot more racing in. knock on wood again. Hopefully we've got good weather this year.
Yeah.
But it's been a hoot. I've been there twice when the party is actually going on, and I've never been in good shape when I was there. And I'm pretty sure, yes, we were there. There's a picture of Cody and Jeff Storm and I together. We're all taking a picture there, and Cody looked like he was in worse shape than I was, but he wasn't. He was just high on the party. That's all he was there.
High on the party.
Well, we'll see. Maybe we'll have a Crew Chief Cody special at the Pink Flamingo. We'll have to figure out who's in charge.
Yes, yeah. Who's in charge? And stay tuned. So we've talked a lot about State Park, and obviously a lot of your racing memories through the years and success has come from that place. And you said you recently drove by and you could see the track because the grandstands are gone and there's dirt up. How does that feel, and what does that feel like?
It sucks. It really, really, really does suck. I don't have the same personal, I mean, I do, but I don't have the same connection that some of these folks who have been going there since the 70s have, and when racing was in its heyday, and how important that place actually is. It's important to me because all of our sponsors and supporters are out of Wausau. It was a 10-minute drive to the track. Real simple. Like I was telling you earlier, there were nights that I could leave the track and then go to work third shift. I wouldn't even be late. Well, I can't find anywhere where I can do that now, so you got to schedule things out. State Park made racing easy, and unfortunately, I shouldn't say made racing easy. It made racing easier to do because it was
convenient.
It was convenient and accessible. I wish a lot more folks that were local would have ran there longer and at least supported it throughout the entirety of the time that they had racing there. But everybody wants to get into touring at some point. Mm-hmm. I will stand by 100% that you have got to go and support at least one local track and make it your home until you're done racing. Because if everybody were to stop and just go touring, there wouldn't be local tracks at all. You got to fund it somehow.
Yeah.
So it sucks. I think we should have had better car counts. The last year, it wasn't bad. We did pretty good. But there were times when they had 6 cars and it stunk. But even then, we had a track and we had somewhere to race, and it was convenient, and it was cheaper for us to run. They had really good payouts, and the people were there. Ever since COVID, that track came out of the little bit of a lull that they were in, and that majority of the time the stands were packed and they were animated. They were rowdy, and they would scream.
Yeah, big racing community up there.
They would cheer and they would boo, and we've seen people get in fights over certain things, and I mean, I love that stuff. Like not that we want people fighting, but just
when the crowd's into it,
when they're into it, because that makes the sport cool. It's a show. We're out there putting on a show, and that's how we need to treat spectators. Like, we're performers. We owe it to them to be respectable and fun and role models, honestly, for anybody who wants to get into it. But it's good to see that the fans there were so animated into the racing. I think that's what made it really special for me.
Yeah. No, like I said, like when the fans are into it, that's just, I mean, as drivers too, it just makes
just more energy. It makes things more exciting. Which I mean, I'm there to put on a show. You probably won't see me very angry ever, just because at the end of the day, I'm getting to do something that not a whole lot of other kids were ever able to do.
Yeah.
And that's how I see it. Just like, I just kind of fell into this the right way. We were fortunate enough to be able to go and race there, but also be grateful for what you got. Don't get angry, be respectful, put on a show. That's what we're there to do. If you're putting on a show and making racing exciting, the people will come, and you're not going to lose racetracks because it's too important not to. They're generating money for the community. So it sucks. It really does. I don't think the track deserved to be torn down, but it is what it is. They can have their bike trails or whatever hoopla they plan on putting in there.
Yeah. No, that is definitely
almost disgusting. No, it's like, I can't believe that they would want to do this with something that could have been a gold mine going forward. It's too bad.
So you're buying a mountain bike now?
No, I don't know if I ever want to step foot on that property other than to relieve myself. It's sad. I hope at some point they put some sort of memorial for the track itself there, because that was a staple for Wassa and Rim Mountain forever. For anyone in Midwest racing,
Mm-hmm.
everybody has been there. I mean, Mark
A lot of
Martin's
history.
racing there, Dave Marcus, all these bigger names. Your grandpa.
Yeah. Yep.
They're all racing there. Huge names, and I can't name them all. This is where it's embarrassing for me, because everybody knows a lot of like the big names, the history of racing. I don't. I don't know anybody, and I'll admit that. I just liked racing so much, I ended up doing it, and I'm learning as much as I can as I go. But outside of NASCAR, I didn't know anything about racing back then. So that's another reason why the history isn't really there for me. I was just fortunate enough to be able to partake in some of the events that took place while it was still State Park Speedway.
Yeah, you're talking about being grateful for what you got and everything, and that me not having really gotten to know you a whole lot up until today and maybe last year a little bit, but that's one thing I always say. It always look like you're enjoying yourself and just happy at the racetrack.
You won't see me mad at the racetrack. I mean, I get frustrated. I get grumpy. I bark orders. But everybody does.
Yeah, stakes are high.
There's a lot of investing that you do in that, and when things aren't going your way, it's frustrating. But at the end of the day, I'm happy to be there. Just to be out there and racing. And I think everybody needs to think more like that. You're out there as a race car driver. That's something that like you say to your kindergarten teacher, and they roll their eyes. Oh yeah, you're a race car driver, astronaut. And for a lot of us, we were able to make it happen, but for a lot more of us, we weren't able to make it happen. So that part's important to me.
Yeah, yeah, and I think being grateful for what you got is a huge thing, because whether if you wish you were doing something else, or whether it's racing something different, I've always kind of I always got a lot more appreciative about what I had, when it's like, man, there's a lot of people that wish they could race a 4-cylinder. They'll never be in a 4-cylinder. They wish they could be in a limited late model or super late model. It'll never, it'll just may never happen for them.
And that's exactly how I see it. Going from sitting in the stands at State Park and watching the super late models, which when I did not know, I'm like, oh, this is NASCAR. This is what NASCARs are. They're a purpose-built car. They're fast. They're loud. And all the biggest names, even NASCAR drivers, come and do this when they're bored or they're doing a promotional or something like that. This is the cream of the crop. Now you work your way up through the ranks, just by happenstance. I mean, all we could probably as a family ever afford was pure stock, and certain other people made limited late model available for me to partake in. But without folks like Todd, and all of our sponsors to carry us right through super late model racing, we wouldn't be there. So our case is special. I'm not saying that our family wasn't well off to an extent, but now we're all broke. I think racing does that to a lot of us. But it took people carrying us to where we are, and I feel extremely fortunate because I didn't have family in racing. We just ended up where we are, and by the grace of God, we're actually doing quite well with it. And
yeah, I would say so.
I hope to continue for at least a few more years.
Yeah, no, and I think that's the cool part about people sharing about where the path and how they've gotten where they're at, and no matter where they're at in racing, because it's like it's the people, the relationships that all make it really happen. And it's like you talk about it's cool to hear you talk about I didn't really have any thought on going to limited late model or super late model. It's like, hey, well, we got it's Clint Sillers, it's Todd Nagel, and it's hey, and it just happened, and it happened again, and here we are, and
so many times it's really crazy how lucky I have been in racing, just the way that the cards fell for us, whether it was someone believing in us or my parents investing everything they had just because they wanted to go racing too, but neither of them wanted to race, and they knew that I could do it. I think I'm doing okay, but everything just, this is how I've lived my life. I have not moved out because this is all I do. And to be able to have a lot of that fall into my lap it's crazy, really. I am very, very, very lucky. And that's why you'll probably never see me ever angry in any situation when I'm out on the racetrack. I've already walked off the track without my car because it's all wadded up, junked up. Oktoberfest last year. You won't see me up too upset. We'll build it again. It's what we love to do. So you're going to have bad days and you're going to have good days in racing, but everybody who is in a car in one way, shape, or form should be grateful. And I just feel that I need to be extremely grateful because without the help of so many things, we wouldn't be doing this. And we likely wouldn't be doing well. And for me to be able to learn all this and carry on and figure things out for myself, and when I'm done racing, I'm not going to be done racing. I'm going to be able to keep doing that. So I've been very fortunate, and I think everybody in a similar situation needs to show that and say that.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree, and I think it's, I hope there's a lot of, race fans that, listen in, and to me, that's one of the things I've wanted for people to hear is like, hey, this is, if you're a big Brock Heinrich fan, like this is what it's taken for you to be at the racetrack, time and time again. And, if this person wouldn't have came along and had this opportunity happen for you, like you may not still be doing it, or you'd be doing it less or something
right.
like that. And
we should not be where we are today. That's just in any regular circumstance, we should not be racing super late models right now because our family never had a lot of money. We weren't in poverty, but we couldn't do it. It's impossible. But that's where you've got great, excellent sponsors. My parents, bless their hearts, for letting me stay in the house because that's the only way that I was ever able to invest the amount of time and money that I've invested into it. Everything. All my eggs are in one basket. And it's really stupid. I don't recommend that for anybody. Yeah, go and do it. Please do it. I would never discourage, but don't throw the life that you have away just blowing all your money on race cars and stuff like that. It's great. That's one thing where I've had that advantage. I was able to. A lot of people wouldn't. Some of your parents would be out of the house. You're 18, you're done. No, but my parents embraced it, said, we're going to go racing. So that's what I did, and I spent all that money, and I'm just very, very.
Isn't that a weird thing? It's like, hey, I love doing this. This is everything to me, but I wouldn't always encourage anyone else to do this too.
Anyone who needs, again, this is why I feel that I wouldn't say I'm more well off than a lot of people, but I will tell you I'm luckier than 95, 97% of everybody who's ever been able to get into racing just to end up where I am. It's crazy. I only advise that because I have spent so much of my money on trying to be somewhat successful in racing and build a name to an extent, which I'm still working on. We're trying to get out of that local racing shell because I know we can do it. And then we're more marketable. Then you can bring in sponsorship. You can do better for your sponsors. You can earn more fans and stuff like that. But you can't throw everything that you need just to live on away to go racing. And that's what I did. And somehow I'm still able to live comfortably because of what my parents were able to. They house me. I live there, and that's huge. It's embarrassing to some extent, but they wouldn't have it any other way. They've told me, they're like, no, you don't have to move out of the house as long as you're doing this. And if I'm not racing, it's but it's just one of those.
A good reason to keep racing, right?
Yeah. Keep saving money until something.
Mom, decent. I have to keep racing, otherwise I gotta leave.
Yeah, exactly. By the way, what's for dinner?
Yeah.
Oh man, I love those guys, and I'm very thankful for the situation that they were able to put me in.
Yeah. what do you have on your sites, whether it's, upcoming or, bucket list type of thing that like you want to do? You talk about like traveling, like, if you had a bucket list track or event to go to.
I want to race the Milwaukee Mile in the worst way. It's kind of my style. We've been there. We've watched Scott Wimmer, NASCAR races. We watched Denny Hamlin land in a helicopter there and replace. There's just history there. We had been going there longer than we had been going to State Park Speedway. So that one's big for me. And my great grandpa would come with us. He's no longer with us, and he was the biggest racing fan in the world. So it makes it special that way. And for my dad as well. There on the counter in our garage right now, there's a picture of them in the grandstands at Milwaukee Mile I think it was one of the first times that those two had gone to a race there. So that's a race that I want to go to if they can bring it back in one way, shape, or form. We are going to travel more next year, and I think we're gonna go for the tour, the Midwest tour. I think we're gonna try it. I don't know exactly how we're gonna make it work, but we're gonna find a way, and we're gonna do our best to make sure that we make that happen. And I know Greg is an awesome promoter. He wants us. He actively is going out, making sure and look to find people who want to come racing because he's trying to promote the sport, and that I appreciate a lot. I think that's more important to me than money or anything else. It's just being welcomed at the racetrack and having people want you to be there because it's entertainment, and it's just a good feeling. I'd rather feel welcomed than get paid in a way like it. Well, and this trickles back to me just being thankful that I'm in a car, So when you've got Greg McCarn's getting a hold of you, hey, are you going to make it out to this race? Are you going to make it out to that race? And I'm like, I want to, but this year, this is like beginning of the conversation, our schedule's messed up. This has been a disaster year. We've had so many rainouts, weddings, other family events. We haven't been on the track, and that I hate. So it sucks being able to say, well,
a lot of rainouts this year, gosh.
It just sucks being able to not go to the racetrack. And I mean, I think I've got 6 races in this year, and usually I shoot for like a 20 race schedule. Like as the cap, we don't want to go over 20 because we all have things going on behind the scenes, regular lives. But it's just been a hard year with the rainouts and not being able to run and no state park. So it means a lot to me when somebody's reaching out trying to get you to go and run their series. And I love running with Tundra too, and those guys really took a beating. I feel bad for the Pannier family, and they work so hard on trying to give us a really good platform to race, and just haven't been able to. Mother Nature said, this whole year for whatever reason, and it rained a lot. Like they never had a chance of getting any of them shows in. So it's just a bummer. So I'm glad the schedule or the forecast is looking good for Monday because we need to get on the track.
Yeah. So what's so you got Monday at Golden Sands, and then that's a Tundra show.
Yep.
What else you got on your plate for the rest of 2025?
From there, we have the Batenhausen race scheduled at Grundy. We're working on getting a lot of our crew stuff finalized there, hotels, seeing what's in budget. We might not be able to make that race, but we are doing our best to try and get down there, get some laps, because if we're going to make this Midwest Tour push, we need to gather some more data because we've kind of been stuck in our shell at the same 5 tracks that we've done well at for the last 3 years, and we need to branch out a little bit more because if we ever want to make a trial at something like the Rattler or the Nashville or the All-American 400 race we talked about, we really wanted to run that one.
Yeah, cool show.
We need to gather more information at other tracks. So we're going to try to do the Batenhausen. We know that's on the same day as the Bev race, which originally we were planning on running, but for the sake of our sponsors and what we have planned and sticking to the schedule, everything overlapped. And there was another Live for 5 race that weekend as well. It's just that particular, I think that's the weekend of the 12th of September.
Okay.
And then, so we've got that. That's kind of in our sights. If for whatever reason we can't do that race, we're going right to Marshfield to go racing with our local crowd and with the Tundra Series. And we want to be there for the Aschenbrenner family. Those guys, I hang out with those guys a lot off season. We're all watching hockey and whatnot, so I want to be there for them if things don't work out at Grundy. So we have a backup plan there. From there, we go to Oktoberfest. We are going to run the 200 this year. We're going to practice majority of the days, but we aren't going to race all of them. We just want to make sure that we can keep our equipment together. I think people are a lot more calm in the 200 because they know they have to save their equipment. And then we'll see if I can even make it that long. I'm so out of shape. And then we've got the following, which I'm so glad Tundra teamed up for that Alive for 5 race to finish off this season as well.
Okay, I didn't know that. So okay, cool. Well, awesome. So you talked about, so kind of going back to the tour thing. How many tracks are part of their program have you not been to yet?
Almost all of them now, except for Norway, and Kaukauna, the Dells I've been to, but we've never done good there, so we're always looking for more data. And I think those might be the only ones.
Okay.
Nowadays, a lot of tracks look really appealing to me, just based on style. Like Hawkeye, I think I'd probably run no matter what, just because it looks like my kind of race. Big, flat. Got to be easy on the throttle, that kind of stuff. Grundy, that's another one. Jefferson, I had run before with Tundra Series, but we haven't been there since they stopped going there, and I'd love to get back. We were actually going to run some of the specials that they had this year, but we weren't able to. Another one of those, hey, we got something going on this weekend. We've got family in town. We've got a wedding. We've got this, that, the other thing. Elko, another one. Almost all of them, except for those 3 or 4 that I mentioned. So
Sure.
It'd be a big step.
Gotcha. Well, best of luck the rest of 2025, and hopefully everything all comes together the way that you wanted to, and go take a run at the tour next year.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, and I'm sure there's a lot of people out there, be looking forward to seeing you do that too.
We got to get back out there. We've been sitting around too much this year, and it's not because we want to, but we haven't had a choice. And I'm like, well, this might be the way. So let's go explore. Let's go meet people and make some new fans and put on a show.
Yeah, exactly. I like love your positive attitude and the mentality of put on a show, because I think if it's not entertaining, who wants to come out and watch that?
Right.
Yeah.
It's all about people. You get people out there, you're going to get paid. The more folks you can get involved, the better everything is going to be.
Yeah, I know. I've had people, let's say you work, maybe tap a guy or something you're faster than them, and they're just sitting there points racing or whatever, and they get upset about it, and it's like, I'm not here just to ride around and,
right.
All several hundred of those people, or, however many is in the stands, like they don't want to watch us ride single file.
Go to a parade for that.
Yeah, exactly. If you want to watch people ride single file, go to a parade. I like that. Yeah.
That's what it is.
Exactly.
Got to put on a show one way, shape, or form.
Yep. Exactly. Well, I appreciate you coming and taking the time to do this, and I'm sure we'll catch up with you at Oktoberfest or something like that.
Oh yeah, you'll see us there.
All right, have a good one. Well, thanks again for coming, and it's been a blast.
Absolutely, thanks, bud.
Yeah, thank you for listening in to Speed and Grease. If you're a returning listener, I appreciate you tuning into another episode. And if it was your first time tuning into the show, I hope you enjoyed it and want to keep coming back for more. And if you haven't already, make sure you head on over to Facebook, Instagram. Like and follow us on one of those platforms, wherever you prefer, even on X as well. And if you watch a lot of stuff on YouTube, make sure you head on over to YouTube, subscribe to our channel there to stay up to date on everything. And also, if you want, give us a rating and review over on Spotify or Apple Podcasts as well. Thank you again for tuning in. I really appreciate it, and we'll catch you in the next one.